What is up, T.O.Gs? I've got an important topic to talk to you guys about today. It's really important. Something that I think a lot of people go to YouTube for, and for good reason. So today we are going to talk about how to ride a motorcycle. Now I'm going to tell you right off the bat, if you came to YouTube to learn how to ride a motorcycle, I'm not going to tell you how, because something as potentially dangerous, I mean lethally, body manglingly dangerous as riding a motorcycle should not be learned on YouTube. Let's just get that right out of the way. But today we're going to talk about the very important steps that I think are the building blocks to a long life of riding motorcycles. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. And that first part of learning how to ride a motorcycle is research. There is so much stuff to learn, to find out about, to go online, to go to dealers, go to bike shops, learn about motorcycles, learn about riding, learn everything you can before you start your journey. You might find out as you research that riding isn't something you want to do. Now, I'm going to say or preface this with the fact that you get out of things what you put into them. So if you take very little time to research, you just kind of go out, take a motorcycle training course, get your license, and go get a bike, and it all seems really easy, you might find it just as easy to give riding up. And so what I'm hoping to do for you and to instill in you is a love of riding, and to do it the right way so that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. I myself have been riding for about a dozen years, and this is something that I love. It's my passion, and it's something that I'll do for the rest of my life. And so hopefully we can help you guys go along that same path. So let's talk about more specifically research. Maybe there are things that you haven't thought of. Maybe there are things you already thought of, and this is the last stop. YouTube is your last stop before you go and take your motorcycle safety class. If not, there's some really important things that you need to research. Number one is insurance, right? Insurance can be really expensive depending on your age and the kind of bike that you want to ride. So you've got to go in knowing what you're getting into, knowing how much extra money you're going to spend every month, maybe on top of a bike payment that you're going to be looking at, because it can end up being substantial. So you don't want to go in blind. Research your insurance and how much it's going to cost you. Quotes are really easy to do. I know Geico makes it really easy. That's my insurance company, and I'm sure that other companies are as easy or close to as easy to get a quote. The other thing you want to research is what kind of bike you want to ride. You might already know, but for those of you who don't, there are a lot of different bike categories out there, and maybe you didn't know. The bike that I ride is a Sport Naked. I'm not sitting as leaned forward or as in a tuck with my knees up against, almost against my chest or up against the tank. So Sport Nakeds are a little bit less aggressive in the seating. You got your sport bikes that are really going to get you in a tuck. Your knees up against the tank. You're leaning forward. That's another option, a sport bike. People will say don't ride a sport bike for your first bike, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you, what your options are. There's just a standard motorcycle, like your standard Honda. I think it's a Nighthawk. Sort of cruisers, kind of relaxed. It's like a mix between a Sport Naked and a cruiser that are just your standard bikes that are going to be very easy to ride. A lot of them come in like a 200cc or 125cc engines. Those are great starter bikes, though I will warn you that it's easy to get bored on those bikes. You've got your dirt bikes, which a lot of you have grown up on if you're thinking about getting your license, your motorcycle endorsement. And I don't know too much about dirt bikes. They might seem intimidating because they're really high off the ground, and you might think I'm too short maybe to ride a dirt bike. Or maybe you've heard that they're really sensitive on the throttle, a lot of power all at once, and they're really torquey. That's true. That can be true. So that's your option. And then there's dual sports and adventure bikes, which are going to allow you to take a bike you can take off-road, but it's street legal. It's going to have a headlight and a tail light and turn signal so that you can take it on the road as well as off the road. So there's a lot of things to research. You got your insurance, you got your category of bike that you want to ride. You also want to research the laws of riding in your state. Now, there's a lot of general laws that are across the board for every state here in the United States that are the same. But for instance, in California, we can do lane splitting or lane filtering, and that's not legal in a lot of states. So make sure you do your research on motorcycle laws. You'll learn a lot about those in your safety class before you actually get on the bike. But it's nice to get to know these things before, so that the first time you hear about them isn't in your safety class. So the second thing I want to talk about is probably the most important thing that you want to do to learn how to ride, is take a class. Now, Motorcycle Safety Foundation makes a good class. MSF here in California, CHP runs the motorcycle safety classes. You can go to Harley Davidson. I've heard good things about their rider courses, and they, you know, if you're thinking about buying a Harley, they're going to give you, I think, a discount or some kind of credit towards buying a Harley Davidson if you take the riding course from them. So, you know, find out what course you want to take. You know, this is probably going to come up after you ride. And then when you take that course, you're going to want to know what kind of bike that you're going to end up riding, because then during your course, you can kind of find the right bike that's the fit for you. Like if you're planning on riding a dual sport, a lot of these classes have a dual sport available for you to learn how to ride on. So you're learning how to ride on the kind of bike that you're going to get. So that's important. And the reason why we take these steps, right? We do this in a logical format so that we get the most out of what we do. Now, if you've been riding since you were a kid, you know, maybe you rode dirt bikes or ATVs, you kind of already know about the throttle. Maybe you've used the clutch while you ride too, and that's important. Those are important principles to learn. Maybe you feel like you can go right to the DMV and just take their riding test and kind of just study up on the written test and just get your license that way. I would venture to say that you're going to learn something new no matter what. Okay, dude. You're going to find out something new whether you've ridden for a long time before you get your license or not. We had guys who'd been riding for 20 plus years in my motorcycle safety class who were saying, shoot, I didn't know that, or this is something that's new to me. And it's important to take that class because it's going to lay a really good foundation for you. It's also going to kind of get your foot in the door and help you to realize, you know, these classes are fun and they're really helpful. But it's just a good thing to do. Trust me, if you thought you were going to go to the DMV and just go get your license, think twice. Maybe look into that course. It's not that expensive, and I think for me, absolutely, it's well worth it. Okay, so you've gotten your license, you've gotten the bike that you want, and you got your and you're all ready to ride. The other thing that I'm going to tell you guys that's really important is to practice. Now, fortunately for me, I actually, and I do this all the time, I actually have the riding course right here that's not too far from where I live. So not only did I get to take my course here, but I can just ride over here to the actual course and ride it. I can practice my slow speed maneuvers. It's a good idea to get out on the road and find like really nice roads, like really well taken care of roads that are safe for you know, practicing your turns and really just practicing principles of riding that are really important. No matter how good you think you are, no matter how confident you are on your motorcycle, it's always important to practice. You know, I cannot emphasize enough. You might be really good at something, but if you don't continue to practice. Here we're going over the course right now. If you don't continue to practice what you do and what you love to do, you're gonna start losing it. Right? You've heard the term "use it or lose it." This is an absolute true principle for more than for a multitude of things. It's not just riding a motorcycle. So practice what you love to do, and don't let those skills slip, because trust me, you might just be a leisurely rider. You might do track days, you might like to get out on a spirited ride, but for the most part you're kind of just a commuter. When you get into hairy situations, those skills are going to come in really in handy. You're going to want to have those skills, and you're going to want to have them practiced. Because those bad habits that we have, as far as riding is concerned, when you get into an situation, those bad habits are going to come through, and they might be the difference between you escaping an accident, or lessening the blow of a bad accident, or you never riding again. Okay guys, and the last thing that I'll say about learning how to ride a motorcycle is this whole thing is fun. If you're not having fun, you kind of have to ask yourself, is this the right thing for me? If learning about motorcycles, I remember when I wanted to find out what I wanted to ride, the bike that I wanted to learn to ride on, I had so much fun researching motorcycles, the style, the power, the engine size, the weight, all of these things. To me, is fun, and it's why I get into trouble, because I look at motorcycles all the time, and why we don't just have the KTM anymore, why we have a second bike in the stable.
We now return to your regular programming.
But guys, what was your journey like when you learned how to ride? I'd love to hear from you guys, and I think it's really beneficial on a video like this, where people who watch this video are really interested on how to ride, to leave in the comments how you learned to ride, what your journey was like, and what are some of the lessons that really stood out to you and you can still remember today. Leave those in the comments. Not only would I appreciate it, but I'm sure all of those people who are out there riding or learning how to ride would love to hear. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you are out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy, and I am out.